Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees from Sri Jagannath Puri Dham. Sorry, we're having some technical problems this morning. I'm just starting a little bit late. This is our 61st session. We're calling a series called Meeting in Kurukshetra. And this is part 14 of the Bhramara-gita. So today we'll mostly have a contemplative reading from the book Mathura Meets Vrindavan. Here. It's a collection of lectures by our revered spiritual master, Srimad Govinda Maharaja. So let's go ahead and start a few prayers. Gauragraganya gana gocha goloduhadam Gauranga gudat Gaura Govinda deshi kavaram satatam namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dile Kakola Kahe Premananda Emona Gauranga Hridoya Dadiya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangeta Namare Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bhidana Parama Pumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pidva Risha Yustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Mathura Meets Vrindavan, a collection of lectures by Srimad Gour Govinda Maharaj, our revered spiritual master. This is from chapter 13, which speaks about this Bhramara-gita. And I thought, although our series has been mostly commentaries in the Bhagavatam, and as well as a few little-known books like Vrindavan Lilamrita by Nandakishore Goswami, which we've been translating from Bengali, and Gopal Champu by Srila Jiva Goswami. Today I thought we'd mostly have a reading with a few contemplations from Mathura Meets Vrindavan. So we're hearing now about Uddhava's reply to the gopis. And Uddhava tells the gopis, you have such deep love for Krishna, and you are teaching the whole world that Krishna Prem is Parama Purushartha, the supreme goal, Sadhya Siromani. And Gurmash quotes a verse, Sarvatma Bhava Dikrito Bhavatinam Adhoksaje Virahena Mahabhaga Mahanme Nugraha Krita. You have rightly claimed the privilege of unalloyed love for the transcendental Lord, O most beloved gopis. Indeed, by exhibiting your love for Krishna's separation from him, you have shown me great mercy. So I want to welcome Brajabanita and anybody else who's listening today, and I have a humble request, Brajabani, if there's, let me know if there's anything wrong with the sound system. We're trying something different today. We're using this very nice iPad which someone gave us. It has a much better camera, but I'm not sure if the microphone works properly or not. So, if Brajabani, if you could let us know, I'd be grateful. Anybody else listening? Guru Maharaj goes on, Uddhava's words, or Guru Maharaj's words. When prema becomes more condensed, it becomes sneha. When sneha becomes more condensed, then it becomes man. When man becomes more condensed, it becomes pranaya. When pranaya becomes more condensed, it becomes rag. When rag becomes more condensed, it becomes anurag. When anurag becomes more condensed, then it becomes bhav. And when bhav finally becomes more condensed, then it becomes mahabhav. This mahabhav is the 8th and final place of the development of transcendental love. You gopis are all mahabhava moyi, the embodiment of mahabhav. Even Lakshmi Devi cannot have what you've obtained. In my opinion, there could be no separation in such mahabhav. How can Krishna be separated from those who develop such love, mahabhav? You are so very, very fortunate. Your separation is only an external affair, bahiranga vyapar. Krishna is within you and without, inside and outside also. I cannot understand. I cannot find any language what to say, Uddhava is saying. I've thought very deeply, and in my opinion, your viraha separation is only an external affair, only to shower some mercy on me, Uddhava, who is jivadam, a most degraded jiva. You have developed this viraha. There can never be any viraha for you. How can Krishna be separated from you? Krishna becomes bound up by love, and you have developed such pure love. Virahina mahabhaga mahane nugraha krita. Only to show some mercy on a degraded jiva like myself, Uddhava, you have displayed such viraha. Otherwise, there would be no viraha at all. So, again, this is why this Bhramara-gita is so very, very important in Gour Lila, because this Bhramara-gita is the height of Mahabhava Moyi Radha, the height of her ecstasy. And as Uddhava is saying here, or Guru Maharaj is saying, through quoting Uddhava, that Uddhava is saying that there's no question of any separation for you. And that's the nature of Mahabhav. Mahabhav means there's maybe external separation, but there's internal union. And this is a meeting in Kurukshetra. And this is Gour Lila. So Guru Maharaj goes on to describe under the subheader Uddhava's transformation. We should understand how Uddhava changed. First, he was thinking himself to be very dear to Krishna and a great Gyani Pandit, Brihaspati Sishya, a very knowledgeable disciple of Brihaspati. Now his pride is crushed. Now he condemns himself and says, I, Uddhava, am most degraded, most fallen. In order to show mercy on me, this viraha is there. Otherwise, there would be no viraha. This prema is a very powerful thing. Shakti sarva vastu. I'd heard of it. I had faith in it. But I'd not actually seen the glory of prema. So Uddhava in Mathura had heard something about prema. He had faith in prema, but he hadn't seen the Braj Gopikas. Uddhava says, now I've gotten a chance to see with my own eyes what is Krishna prema. If there had not been such viraha, such separation, then Krishna would not have sent me here. He sent me here to see you. And now I'm thinking that this is a great fortune. I'm very fortunate coming to Braj Bhumi and seeing you. You are the embodiment of Krishna prema, Mahabhava Bhakti. Krishna has showed great mercy on me, allowing me to see you. You have asked me why there is viraha and nirupati prema. We heard something about that in a few previous sessions, how the gopis are describing different types of love. Sopadika prema, or prema with some designation. That's also known as patitva. Patitva means that because there's a concept that the Lord is my pati or my husband. But the gopis' love is nirupadika priti. It has no upadis, no designation. So Uddhava goes on to, he says, in answer I say that in order to show some mercy, a pity on me, this jivadham, most degraded jiva, Uddhava, such viraha is there. I don't know what other answer there is. Uddhava is a very dear devotee, Sujan, Krishna's own man. By sending him to Braj Bhumi, Krishna has crushed his pride in a very wonderful way. The following Bhagavatam verse 10:31-6 is very significant in this regard. Brajajanatahan viravyositam nijajanasmaya dvamsana smita bhajasaki bhavat kinkarosmono jalahananam chadu darshaya. The gopis are speaking this verse, and the gopis, they say, O you who destroy the suffering of Braja's people, O hero of all women, your smile shatters the false pride of your devotees. Please, dear friend, accept us as your maid servants and show us your beautiful lotus face. Guru Maharaj comments, this verse says, Nija jana shmaya dhangsana. If by chance pride develops in his own men, then Krishna crushes that pride. He crushed the pride of Arjun by showing him the jambuk, the jackal, which is a story we read about in our last session here. And here he crushed the pride of Uddhava by sending him to Braj Bhumi. Pride is a great hindrance on the path of bhakti. It is a demoniac quality, dambo darpo bimanas. Therefore Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sunichena turoriva sahisnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahadi. Give up pride. Think yourself much humbler than a blade of grass lying on the street. Be as tolerant as a tree. Don't demand respect, rather offer respect to one and all. With this attitude you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you do this, then definitely you'll develop Krishna Prema, and your life will be successful. And Guru Maharaj said, this is a very deep topic. How many persons have understood it? I don't know. But if some devotees have understood it, then I will think I've achieved some success. So I just would like to make a few comments in this regard. Guru Maharaj told us on one occasion, he said that we should work to help uphold the prestige of Srila Prabhupada's mission. And he told us that the best way to do that is to have nice Krishna Katha and nice Vaishnava dealings. He told us on another occasion that it causes me great pain when I hear that devotees are leaving ISKCON to go to some other place for so-called higher teachings. I want to show that we have everything in ISKCON. So this was his desire. And sometimes he spoke these things, and he would tell us sometimes, he said, I don't know who is qualified to hear this. And he said, even I don't know if I'm qualified in his humility to speak this. He said, but I have no choice, I must. So it's a very, very important subject to understand. Sometimes devotees, they don't like to hear about this pride. But this pride is a great stumbling block. Previously in our Krishna Katamrita Bindu magazine, we printed 3 verses from the Udyoga Parva of the Mahabharata, which describe 18 gradual effects of pride. Madosa dasa dosa syat purayasa prakirtita lokadvesham pratikulyam abhyasya mrishavacha kama kroda paradtrantram parivado tapaisanam artahani vivadascha matsaryam prani pidanani ishyamoho tivadascha samyagnoso vyasuyita tasmat pragno namadyeta sadahitad vigadhitam. So the Mahabharata Udyoga Parva describes that there's 18 faults which are found. Mado astadasha. Astadasha means 18. Dosha means fault. 18 faults of mada or pride. A person, first of all, who is overcome by pride. Lokadvesham. He's people find him very, very disgusting. No one wants to be around him. Even we see in presidential elections and things, if someone is a humble person, people appreciate that. Of course, for a politician, their humility may be some show. But still, even if there's some show of humility, people respect it, they appreciate that. And we're disgusted when we see people behave in a very, very proud way, only wanting to talk about themselves, only wanting to promote themselves. So, Lokadesha, this is a very great obstacle in bhakti. And Pratikulyam, he imagines when he comes to another platform of pride, first of all, people become disgusted with him. And then he feels like people don't appreciate me. When he sees that people are disgusted by him, then he thinks people don't appreciate me. Pratikulyam. Abhyasarya. And then therefore he starts acting in negative ways towards people. He starts criticizing them. Mrisavacha. And he starts finding fault even with virtuous people. And he starts slandering or criticizing people. This is Mrisavacha. And he doesn't hesitate to start lying in different ways, so that no one will get the same kind of honor that he desires. That's the next stage. First, he's people find him very disgusting. Then he becomes hurt. Oh, people don't appreciate me enough. And therefore he starts acting in a negative way towards people. And the next stage is he starts criticizing people. And then he doesn't hesitate to lie, because he wants to have this respect from other people, so that no one would get some honor or respect like him. He becomes so attached and so eager after that subject where his pride lies, that if anybody speaks against his desired object, then his anger becomes like fire. And then he becomes subservient to people, it's the next stage, who kindle the firewood of his pride. Someone who, we call this in Odia language a chela. Someone naturally wants to have a chela, and they surround themselves by sycophants, by people who only say what they want to hear. And if someone says anything different, then you drive them away. And this is a great obstacle in pride. And we've seen even many people who take on the role of guru. If they surround themselves only with disciples and sycophants, with people who glorify them, and they don't associate with their God brothers, then it can be very, very dangerous. So then the next stage is they're constantly slandering other people, constantly criticizing, and they start spending a lot of money on legal challenges and so on. They constantly become engaged in quarrel. It's the next stage. And then when they see someone else who is more prosperous, they have more prosperity than themselves, more prosperous, they become greatly envious of that, and they want to inflict pain on those persons. Their heart's always burning in the fire of envy. They're bewildered by delusion and ignorance. They're devoid of knowledge. That's a later step. Tasmat pragno namadyeta. They lose any good knowledge or anything. They don't know what's good and what's bad. And they become absorbed in doing violence against others. So, because of all these terrible vices, an intelligent person, sadahrited vigaritam, an intelligent person will avoid all these different types of pride. Pride is a very, very bad thing. Srila Prabhupada, in one conversation in his wonderful garden in Los Angeles, which is still there today, Prabhupada commented, unnecessary pride is very bad. He said, I've become very advanced in Krishna consciousness. We should never think like that. The Manava Dharma Shastra describes how evil the desire for fame is. Samana Brahmano Nityam Udijet Vishad Eva. That this, throughout his life, that a Brahman, Nityam, he should always consider that material prestige is like bish, is like poison. and Amrita Sheva Chankanchad Avamanasya Sarvada. He considers that when someone dishonors me and criticizes me, that's like nectar. Sukam hyavamata shete sukam cha pratibhudyate sukam charati lokesmin avamanta vinashyati. Because if we learn to tolerate dishonor, then our agitation will subside. But the person who's very proud, he can't tolerate when someone dishonors him. But if we can tolerate that, then our agitation will go down, the Manava Dharma Shastra describes, and then we'll be able to sleep happily. Sukham hyavamata seti sukham cha pratibhudyate sukham charati lokesmin. We'll be able to be happily awake. Sukham charati lokesmin will happily move about. And the people who insult him because of whatever sins they have, they'll become embarrassed. Avamananti vinashyati, and their happiness in this life and in the next will be vanquished. So Srila Prabhupada spoke quite a few things about this in different ways. In the Nectar Devotion, he says that anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying his senses by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. It's one of my favorite quotes from Srila Prabhupada. Anyone who has any desire, any aspiration to satisfy his senses by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, they can't actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. So this is Krishna's mercy on Uddhava. As Gour Maharaj is commenting here, the gopis, they're saying, Nija Janasmaya Dvangsana, that if by chance some pride develops in Krishna's man, then Krishna crushes that pride. So Uddhava had some pride. I'm a Brihaspati Sishya, I'm a disciple of Brihaspati. I know what is bhakti. Uddhava is the greatest devotee in Mathura, and Krishna's glorifying him always and speaking so many wonderful things to him. So Uddhava thinks, I'm really something very, very special. And Prabhupada comments in Nectar Devotion again, he says, if you have that pride, even in a spiritual sense, then you can't actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. You're just an outsider. So Uddhava then was sent by Krishna to the Braj school of Prem. Prabhupada again in a lecture in New Vrindavan in 1976, he said that a devotee is never envious of another devotee. If someone is envious, he says, he's not a devotee. Tadadineshu maitri. One who is a devotee, we have to make friendship with them. How can we hate them? We should never ever hate a devotee. So I'd like to go on and read something from this 47th chapter of the 10th canto. This is text number 12. And the gopis, they're replying to Uddhava. Madhupakitava bando maspi sangrim sapatnyaya kucha vilulita mala kunkumasma shubirnara vahatu madhupatistan maninanam prasadam yadu sadasi vidyamya yashadutas tvam idrik. The gopis, they spoke to this bumblebee, Madhupa. Madhupa means a bumblebee. They said, oh Madhupa, you're Kitava Bandhu. You're the friend of a cheater. Masprisangrim. Hey, don't touch my feet with your whiskers, which are smeared with kumkum that rubbed onto Krishna's garland when it was crushed by the breast of a rival lover. Krishna's in Mathura. Let him satisfy the ladies of Mathura. One who sends a messenger like you will certainly be ridiculed in the assembly of the Yadus. So this verse and the following 9 verses in this chapter exemplify 10 different kinds of impulsive speech known as prajalpa, which is spoken by a lover. And Rupa Goswami describes these in Ujjwal Nilamani, chapter 14. Asuryasya madav yuja yovadirana mudraya priyasya koshalodgara prajalpa satu kirtyate. Prajalpa is defined by this phrase. It's that speech which denigrates the tactlessness of one's lover with expressions of disrespect. It is spoken in a mood of envy, jealousy, and pride. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary, he says that the word in this verse, Kitava Bandho, when the gopis say Kitava Bandho, that you're the friend of a cheater, it expresses some transcendental envy on behalf of the gopis. Why? Because they're feeling some envy that, oh, now you're in Mathura, you're now Madhupati, you're the beloved of the Lord of Madhupur, which is another name for Mathura, and you're the beloved of the ladies of Mathura. So this verse is indicating the gopis are speaking about how Krishna didn't treat Radharani in a proper way. This is their point. And that bumblebee who's buzzing around and being greedy for the fragrance of her lotus feet, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, seeing that Srimati Radharani, she spoke this in an impulsive kind of mad way. This is prajalpa. And this is as a result of a kind of madness which is known as Dibyonmada, or divine madness. And therefore Radharani is calling the bee Kitava Bandho, friend of a wicked cheater. And then she gives some explanation why Krishna should be called a cheater. Krishna previously said, Mad Artojita, that you've given up everything to come here to me, but I've given up you. So you should please forgive me for this injustice I've done. Krishna left Vrindavan and plunged the gopis of Braj into an ocean of separation and suffering. And that separation culminates in the meeting in Kurukshetra. And there's a conversation there between Krishna and the gopis. And Krishna tells the gopis that, actually, I never did leave you. How is it that he never left them? This is a very, very deep subject matter. This is the nature of Mahabhav, when Krishna enters into the heart of Srimati Radharani. Srila Rupa Goswami has described in his Dvitiya Chaitanyashtakam, the second prayers written to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Rasastomam Hritva, that Krishna made this separation for a purpose, so that Rasastomam Hritva, so that he could enter into the heart of Srimati Radharani, because he wanted that Madanakya Mahabhav. But when he entered into the heart of Radharani, something happened. When he came out, suddenly he found that Radhabhava Duti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Sarupam. Although he's Krishna, when he came out of the heart of Radha, he found that his complexion had changed. And now the Bhav and the Kanti, the complexion of Srimati Radharani, was there on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore this chapter, this Bhramara-gita, is very intimately connected with Gour Leela. And really, when we speak about this meeting in Kurukshetra, we're speaking about the essence of Gour Leela. So Radharani, she's telling the bumblebee, Vishwanath says, that although Krishna is saying that Napariyeham, I can't repay you, he said Madartaji, that you've given up everything to serve me, so please forgive me for my injustice. Radharani is saying these are all false statements, and therefore Krishna can be called a cheater. And that bee then is trying to touch the feet of Radharani. The bee is making a buzzing sound saying, what is this? Won't you let me offer obeisances to you? And then Radharani replies that I'll become contaminated if you touch my feet. As someone who drinks liquor, madhupa, means a drinker of liquor. And madhupa is also a name for the bumblebee. If a madhupa touches my feet, a drinker of liquor, then I'm going to become contaminated. If you want to offer obeisances to me, then you should do it from some distance away. So in the Anekarta Varga dictionary, it's described madhu madhye pusparase, that the word madhu can mean a liquor, or it can mean the sap of a flower. And Madhupati means the lover of that sap of the flower, or it can mean the lover of liquor. And the bumblebee then replies to Srimati Radharani, Vishwanath says, why are you accusing me of being a drunkard? I'm faultless. And Srimati Radharani then says, this is not just an accusation, it's true. Don't touch me. Because your whiskers, they have kumkum from the flower garland from other women's breasts. And that had been crushed by contact with Krishna's chest. In other words, this bumblebee's been associating, he's coming, he's a messenger of Krishna. And Krishna has been embracing different ladies. And because they're embracing Krishna, some kumkum has come on that flower garland, which has come to the whiskers of that bumblebee. And this way, Radharani is saying, this is why, my dear bumblebee, why you have yellow-colored whiskers. And Radharani goes on to say to the bumblebee, the fact that you've come here to try to pacify me without even washing off that kumkum means you don't have any discrimination on your part, which is evidence that you've been drinking liquor. You must be drunk, otherwise you would have washed yourself first before you came here. You should have the sense to know that such an exhibition is only going to increase my jealousy. It's not going to decrease it. And that bumblebee then begins to buzz and hum in different ways and saying, please forgive me. And then Radharani thought that the bumblebee was saying, anyway, you should be happy. And Radharani then replies, my dear bee, you're the protector of liquor, you're Madhyapalaka. Go back to your master. You should guard his storehouse of liquor, and you can drink some yourself. This is a good job for you, because you're too stupid to be a qualified messenger. And so then flying around and buzzing, the bees seem to be saying, I see you're finding many faults in me. Why should I listen to all this? I'm going to go to Mathura. Let Krishna himself come and make you happy. And to that, Radharani is indicated in this verse. She uses the word Madhupati. Now Krishna has become the master of all the madhus in general. Although, Vishwanath says, Radharani is saying, that by birth, from the womb of Yashoda, Krishna is a Gwala. He belongs to the cowherd caste. By some good fortune, now he's become a Kshatriya. He's become a very big man. So now he should go and satisfy those Kshatriya ladies in Mathura. What use does Krishna have with cowherd girls like us? When Krishna enjoys one of them, however, it'll be a problem. Another one will become jealous. They'll develop some sulkiness. And then when he satisfies the second one, then a third one will become jealous. So in this way, Krishna will have to continuously satisfy them, all one after another. So in that way, because of that, your words are meaningless, because we know, because of that, Krishna's not going to have any time to come here and meet us. You can say Krishna's going to come here, but he's going to be so busy, because as soon as he satisfies one lady in Mathura, another one will become jealous. If he satisfies her, then a third one will become jealous. He's going to be busy trying to satisfy all those ladies. Radharani says there's unlimited ladies in Mathura and Madhu dynasty, and Krishna's going to have to satisfy each and every one of them. And then the bee seems to reply back, you're the ocean of good fortune for Krishna. Don't speak like this. If his mind's not fixed on you, then why did he send me here as his messenger? And to that, Radharani replies, Vishwanath says, it's true. You're Dutastvam. You're the carrier. You're the messenger. But what are you the messenger of? You're the messenger. You're the carrier of the marks of Krishna's love affairs with these Kshatriya ladies in Mathura. And because he has those marks of his love affairs with those ladies there, then Krishna's going to be laughed at. Vidambyam, she speaks in this verse. This is the meaning of the word vidambyam, Vishwanath says. The Radharani is saying he's going to be ridiculed in the assembly of the Yadus, Yadu Sadasi. When the news of Krishna's relationships with those Yadu ladies becomes known, then their husbands are going to get angry with Krishna, or there'll be some ridicule in that assembly of the Yadu dynasties. So in other words, Radharani says, The Yadus then are going to be condemned by other Kshatriyas in different countries because their women were enjoyed by some cowherd boy who has a messenger like you, who's also Madhupati, the master of intoxicating liquors. So in this way, Krishna must be a drunkard, because only a drunkard would send a messenger like you. So all the words in this verse, Vishnu says, they arrive from different emotions experienced by Radharani. The word in the verse, Kitava, cheater, arises from Radharani's indignation, asuya. The word sapatnya, speaking about a rival lover, it indicates Radharani's irsya, or her jealousy. The phrase masprisha angram, don't touch my feet, then that indicates some mada, or some pride on behalf of Radharani. And then when Radharani says vahatu, let him bring, it indicates Radharani's desire to disrespect Krishna. And the phrase yadu sadasi vidyambyan, scorn, criticize, and assemble the yadus, expresses Radharani's urge to speak harsh words, to criticize Krishna's improper treatment of her. So Jiva Goswami similarly comments on this verse, and he says that who can understand the words of Radharani's Chitra Jalpa, which is evoked by this Divyamada, this divine madness, which is brought about by the highest sweetness of deep envy, pride, hatred, disrespect, joking, other emotions. Who can understand that? Who could understand this? Unless there's Gaura Lila, no one would be able to understand this. So unless we look through the lens of Gaura Lila at this Bhramara-gita, how can we understand it? In such a very, very important chapter in the Bhagavatam, which indicates so many other things. So, and if anybody has any reflections or comments or questions, this is a good time. I want to thank Brinda Sundari. Yeah, the video quality is better because we're using our iPad. I was just worried about the sound quality, but she said the sound is good too. Thank you for this comment like that. So if anybody has any reflections, any thing that you experienced today you'd like to share, you can go ahead and comment on that. Okay, otherwise we'll go ahead and stop then. So thank you all. Krishna, couldn't you have something?
I just really like the yellow whiskers of the bee and how that also indicates that he is drunk, because it means he has no discrimination. He came there with the sign of another flower, another lady on his whiskers, so that means he's too stupid to be a messenger. I like that. It's how he's a messenger of the marks of Krishna having love affairs with other ladies. And it's just kind of, it's very, I mean, it's inconceivable of course, but it's just very sweet, and it really brings to mind their previous pastimes, and it's so beautiful. And also I really would like to read Jiva Goswami's Tika on this verse, because you said that unless there is Gaura Lila, there is no way to understand this Chitra Japa of Srimati Radharani. So that was kind of a big one for me, and I would like to
that was my comment.
That was your comment?
Yeah, my comment on Jiva Goswami's thing.
Okay.
But we can see that very clearly, and therefore in the 14th chapter of the Anchalila, we have this song of the Kapalika Yogi. Right? And let's see, Brinda Sundari's commented here that so dramatic, and the conclusions they are making about Krishna in that disturbed mood, the best drama. Yes, very nice comment. This is the best drama. And there are dramas about this. There's in fact, there's a whole book, a drama, that were by Krishna Kamal Goswami, who was an associate of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a famous book called Divyamada, which is all about the same emotions of Srimati Radharani. We're translating that right now. So that's the best drama, that we can begin to understand something about the feelings of the gopis of Braj. And Ida Yoga, nice to see you from Bosnia, Hare Krishna. And Sachitanoi Prabhu, looks like you're here also. My pranams, my good friend. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop there. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki jai, Goprem Anandi Hari Hari Bol.